Welcome to Codex History of Video Games. My name is Tyler Osby.
And I'm Mike Coletta.
And this week we're gonna, we're gonna go back in time, which as if we don't do that on literally every single episode we've ever done of this show. That's the whole point of the show.
We're actually time traveling this episode. This is gonna be good.
Yeah, okay, great.
People are gonna love it.
Yeah, so we're talking about this week a game called Army Men, Sarge's Heroes. I think specifically the Nintendo 64 version, but I want to say this was also on PlayStation. I'll let you take it.
We're going to talk about it all.
Okay.
Like I played it on 64. That's how I remember it, and that's the copy I have of it, and that's like where my nostalgia is coming from. I've wanted to cover Army Men for a long time, like the series Army Men, and I hadn't done it because those early Army Men games are not they're good, but they're not very accessible to me. And the reason I wanted to do them was to get to Sarge's Heroes. And I was like, you know what? This might be a don't bore us, get to the chorus situation. And we just do the game that I love.
There are other Army Men games before this?
Dude, there's Army Men 1, Army Men 2, Army Men Toys in Space, and they're top-down, like, tactical games.
Oh, really?
We're going to talk about it because in 1999, 5 Army Men games came out.
Whoa.
Yeah. We'll get into it in the end when we talk about the legacy of this series, but let's just get started to it. So, if you don't know, Army Men Sarge's Heroes is a third-person shooter where you are a plastic army man and you're into like a war movie if it was Toy Story, is how I'm going to describe it. So it takes place both in the Army Men world, which is just like a version to scale of the Army Men of just like normal trees, army bases, outdoors, yada, yada, yada. And then there's a portal that takes you to the real world, our world, the human world. And that's when it becomes like Toy Story-esque.
Okay.
Right? So that's the gist of the game. This was released during the like popularity peak of the Army Men franchise, which was 1999. It goes on into like the early 2000s, and we'll talk about what happened to it, but let's just get into the grime facts, right? That's what we're all here to do. So this was developed by the 3DO company. It was released on a Nintendo 64 first end of September 1999. I say end of September because it's like the 28th to the 30th. There's like a release window there. PlayStation, it came out later on February 23rd, 2000. Then there was a Dreamcast version on October 31st, 2000, and that's considered the best version of the game, is the Dreamcast version. And then there was a PC version that also came out in 2000. It's weird because things I've watched and read said that like the Dreamcast version is based on the 64 version and the PC version is based on the PlayStation version. So there's little variations between all these games.
Are there meaningful differences between those two like versions of the game?
It's mostly graphical.
Okay.
Is what I would say. Yeah, it's mostly a graphical thing because if you look at this game on 64, it's rough. Like it looks pretty rough.
I have nostalgia, much better on
and I
remember
it. No, it's not. I mean, the Dreamcast version also isn't that much better. This is still very much a early 2000s, late 90s game, so 3D game. But the interesting thing is the best way to play of this, there's no modern PC port of this game. Like, it's not on Good Old Games. It's not on Steam. There's no modern way to play it except you would emulate it. And I'm going to say this game is over 25 years old. So I'm going to look into the camera and say, you should emulate this game. That's probably how you're going to play it. With your legal copy of this.
Obviously. Of course. We would never condone piracy here.
That goes as a caveat to everything. But on top of that, if you were going to play it on like native hardware, you probably want to get the Dreamcast version is the best one. But hey, I think I got it on 64 for like $20, which for a 64 game is not that bad. Is it worth $20? That's fully up for debate. So number of copies sold, we got 1.3 million units combined for the N64 and the PlayStation versions. We'll get into some more about like how it did compared to other games at the time. Later on, the genre or gameplay style, it's a third-person shooter. It's an action game. You play as an army man, running around, jumping, shooting guns. The average time to complete, according to howlongtobeat.com, main story is 7 hours long. Extra 11 hours, completion is 16 and a half. Honestly, the long play I watched of this was under 4 hours.
Speedrun.
So I think you could go shorter. You could speedrun it probably. And it's got, I don't even know if I want to include the Metacritic score because it's got like a weird thing going on with it where I don't think it was kind of before Metacritic. It's right at the time. So it was received well though. Like the game was received well. I will say that. It wasn't bad. So we're not even going to include a Metacritic score because I don't trust it. But gameplay at its core, it's a third-person shooter where you control Sarge, who is Sergeant Hawk, and he's a green plastic army man soldier in the toy army men, right? And you're fighting against the tan army. And one thing I love is it has a Doom style health bar where the sergeant's face gets like more plasticky and chipped and melted as you get hurt, which I think is like a fun system to have. Also, you move through 3D based levels, you can jump and stuff. So there's like very light platforming to this. And you're just like completing objectives, right? You're fighting the Tandem Army, you're destroying bad guys, you're taking locations, you're freeing your friends. It's not just the Tan Army you're fighting. You also fight like insects when you get into the real world, like the spiders and ants. And then you also fight toys like robots and stuff like that too.
Ooh.
But what sells the game to me and what I remember the most about this game is that it takes place across these two worlds, right? So there's the Army Men world, which looks like Earth, but to the scale of the Army Men. So there's like Army Men sized bases and everything, and you're running around. There's even a level that looks like Army Man Vietnam, which I thought was kind of funny. Like it's weird. And then you go through these portals, and then the portals take you to our world, like the real world. And this is where everyday objects become like massive, right? And it pretty much turns the game into Toy Story. And Toy Story was a major influence. We'll get into that in development, but it turns the game into the Toy Story franchise. And in these levels, you might fight like across like a kitchen counter. There's like a bathtub level. It really does this thing where it's like hitting you with scale, right? So you're in the backyard and the sandbox looks gigantic because you're so small. The last level, which I thought was cool because this game came out like as like a holiday game, like in that September window, right? It actually has the last level as a Christmas tree that you fight under, which is kind of cool. Yeah. The other thing I want to mention gameplay wise about the game is saving that I thought was kind of interesting. It takes the controller pack for the N64 or a memory card, but it also does password saves.
We're doing password saves in the Nintendo 64 era. It's got to be the only game with a real password save system, right?
Yeah, I kind of liked it because it meant if you were having problems with your controller pack, which let's be honest, common issue on the N64, a controller pack corruption, that you could at least get back to your save if you wrote the password down.
Yeah,
which I kind of like.
That's good. But it really shows they cheaped out on the cartridge, though, because if they couldn't even pony up for a save on the cartridge,
yeah,
it really says something about where their priorities were on this. Because every game had to save to the cartridge back in those days, except like this and Tony Hawk.
Mm-hmm. That actually, as someone who has a lot of N64 games, a lot of controller pack games, though. A lot more than you think.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. It's not, I mean, most mainline Nintendo games did save to the cartridge. But yeah, I mean, we're talking about the third party shenanigans. They do whatever they want. It's the Wild West. Okay. So they're your standard weapons for the game. There's like a rifle, there's a machine gun, there's a bazooka, there's mortars, flamethrowers, grenades, there's a sniper rifle. So it's got like your standard fare at this point. And the many weapons you use are also tied to like the members of Bravo Company, because Sarge is the leader of Bravo Company. And then each one of those characters in Bravo Company has like a specialty. There's like the mortar guy, and there's the explosives guy, there's like the minesweeping guy, like all that kind of stuff, right? And we'll get into those later on. And they have like some unique abilities that help you out in the missions. And the fun thing about this game is there was multiplayer in this game as well.
I bet that was fun.
And it was fun because you would fight split screen in these like bathrooms and like on the kitchen counter. And it was like a fun, silly little thing. Like I would describe the multiplayer as probably just being fine for the time. Like it wasn't really complex, but I definitely played it with my brother and I really enjoyed myself. And it was a lot of us just like running around and like, yeah, there was like, we were shooting each other and someone won, but I have distinct memories of us just messing around in the game and trying to do different things, you know, and that was kind of the fun part to me. It's not like Perfect Dark levels of multiplayer where it's like really good. Cause I look at Perfect Dark where Mario Kart 64 is like the peak of N64 multiplayer.
Yeah.
And I would say the Army Men Sarge's Heroes is just kind of middle of the road fine. Like it's functional, but it's not crazy. So anyway, I'm now going to do my favorite thing we get to do on these older episodes, where I get to read the plot synopsis of the instruction manual.
Oh, yeah.
Remember
This is what you would have read in the
manuals?
car on the way home.
In the car on the way home from Toys R Us or Best Buy or wherever you bought your game, this is what you would have read. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
A world exists that's quite different from our own. There, a battle rages out of control. A battle between good and evil, green and tan. The green and tan are tiny plastic armies. The evil tans outnumber the peace-loving greens 50-1. The green soldiers are fighting for their lives. General Plastro leads the rapacious tan army, a huge force bent on annihilating or enslaving all others. Plastro himself, a cruel military dictator, can watch his own men melt in battle without feeling the slightest pang of remorse. Through his secret operatives, Plastro has discovered portals that lead to an alternate world. This strange land holds weapons of awesome power that plastic soldiers have never seen before. If Plastro can seize and deploy these weapons, the green forces will be melted into a sea of goo before they can aim their weapons. It looks pretty bleak for the greens, except they have Sergeant Hawk. Sarge's style is a battering ram. He's a one-man invasion force with a big grin, miles of heart, and bright green eyes. Sarge's battlefield ferocity is right up there with Attila the Huns.
Dang.
This is written in the manual. And I'm not done, by the way. We're like halfway through. Sarge leads Bravo Company. He and his 5 favorite soldiers make up the Bravo Company Commandos. Sarge takes his orders from Colonel Grimm, a respected old soldier who spent a lifetime holding back the Tan Menace. The greens and tans clash. Plastro launches a merciless preemptive strike that scatters the green forces and leaves many mortally melted. The battle rages with murderous firefights, heroic rescues, and treachery. Sarge's 5 commandos are taken captive. Grimm's daughter, Vicky, a war correspondent, is dragged into the action by a twist of fate. The Bravo boys are Sarge's best friends, and he has a soft spot for Vicky. This war is getting personal. Quote, "It's party time. Let's turn Plastro back into the goo he crawled out of."
It's party time.
That's what he says. It's party time. I was so happy when I found this, and I actually should check because I might have this physical booklet still. Because I had this game. Like, it was one of those games where I had it. I couldn't find my copy of it for 64. Like, I let a friend borrow it, and I never got it back, but I still have the instruction booklet.
Mm-hmm.
But I've since bought it again because, I mean, it's Sarge's Heroes.
Yeah.
I gotta have it.
Yep.
But as you can see, it's really campy, really silly, and what's weird, there's a couple weird plot points about this that I want to talk about. First, all the soldiers are either pure green or pure tan, but Vicky has human skin, which is unsettling, is what I would describe it as.
Okay.
And I think the background right now, I don't know if you can see Vicky on the video background. Can you see her?
Yeah, kind of.
You can see she's got human skin. Like it's unsettling to say the least. But then on the cover, there's also Riff, who's the bazooka specialist. Hoover is the minesweeper. He's kind of the nerdy guy. Fick is the heavy machine gunner. Scorch is the flamethrower, and Sharp is the mortar guy. So they all have these personalities. And I have a couple spoilers about the end, which I will describe in a new segment called Things That Did Not Age Well. Okay. On top of wanting to defeat the Green Army, General Plastro, of course, wants to take Vicky as his wife, because that's a weird plot point that these games have.
Sure.
And then after defeating Plastro, Sarge is ordered by Colonel Grimm to kiss Vicky, and Vicky is Colonel Grimm's daughter. It's a really weird cutscene, is how I would describe it. And I was like sitting there watching it because I watched a long play of this to get the story and be like, what's it like? And I'm like, this is uncomfortable. Okay. This is like one of those things that did not age well. I think it has to do with like this type of story they're trying to like camp out and make weird, but it's a weird plot point. The only funny thing I would say is Plastro gets defeated by a family dog. Like family dog comes up and eats Plastro, and that's how it ends. He's like stuck with the dog, like cuddling with the dog at the end.
Like the dog,
Weird way.
the dog's like, this is my toy now.
Yeah, exactly. And he's like, I'll get you, army men. But yeah, you save the day. You essentially go through and you rescue all of the soldiers, and then you save Vicky, and then you kiss Vicky in the end. And that's like the rah go team energy it's got. The game is the plot is like there to make it have character, because the older Army Men games didn't. The older Army Men games were straight up like no real plot. You played as Sarge. You did play as Sarge, but you weren't Sergeant Hawk. You were just named Sarge. So I think you might have been a different character. And you just went around as a hero and like fought the Tan Army from like a top-down perspective, clicking around. It was a PC game, right? This makes it a little more palatable for people that played N64 by making it a third-person game. And then having a story to it was also unique, I feel like, because they didn't really have stories before. So the one thing that we're going to talk about with development that I think is really cool is I did randomly find a book called The Minds Behind PlayStation Games: Interviews with Creators and Developers by Patrick Hickey Jr. And there is a whole chapter on Army Men Sarge's Heroes. And specifically, he interviews Michael Mendheim. I think that's how you say it. It's Mendheim. And Michael Mendheim is the creative director for Sarge's Heroes. So we actually get first-hand accounts of how the development went for this game, which I thought was kind of cool, because we don't often get that with games that are this old, right? So we actually have Michael kind of going through it and talking about it. So just some brief history of the studio. Sarge's Heroes was developed by 3DO, which, as we've mentioned before on the podcast, was founded by Trip Hawkins after Trip Hawkins left Electronic Arts. The chapter of the book even points this out, but I think while most people, when they hear 3DO, they think of the failed console, they actually had like quite a few IPs. Like they had good IPs. Like they had Army Men, but they also had Heroes of Might and Magic. That was a 3DO game. And then I was never a huge, like, I wasn't into the games, but High Heat Baseball was a series they also did that was pretty popular. So following the commercial success of these early Army Men titles that they had the years prior, the studio decided they wanted to make this into like a franchise, right? And the goal was to transform the series from just like a top-down shooting game to something more character-driven, something more cinematic, and most of all, something accessible to everybody. Did you ever play any of the Army Men games, Tyler?
No,
like any of them at all?
I am wholly unfamiliar with this series. I didn't even know there were games before Army Men Sarge's Heroes.
Yeah, so there's Army Men 1, 2, and 3, and 3 is, I think it's called Toys in Space. And then there's also Army Men Air Attack, which was a really good game that you played in a helicopter in this whole world. There's also some later games in the franchise, including what might be one of the worst games I've ever bought and played, which we will talk about at the end.
Love it.
I'm pretty excited to talk about that. But definitely the Sarge's Heroes point is the highlight of this. So I've actually tried to do an episode on the early Army Man games, like to the point where I've written it out and I've played the games, and I'm like, one, the games are really hard, and two, they don't really age very well. Like they're just kind of unnecessarily hard is how I would describe them.
Yeah.
You know, where you're like, this is so difficult. Like it's designed for you to beat your head against the wall to figure it out. But if you're like me, I'm like, I'm in my 30s. I don't got energy for that kind of stuff anymore. I don't want to do that anymore. I want to have fun, right? So it was hard for me to write an episode. So I'm like, let's just skip straight ahead to Sarge's Heroes. So let's talk about Michael Mendheim and the team and who designed Sarge's Heroes. So it's a character-focused action adventure, and it was inspired, according to Mendheim, by Toy Story and then also games like Super Mario and games like GoldenEye, right? And the developers leaned really heavily into the toy concept. So this is straight from that chapter I was talking about. Quote, the original Army Men game was a tactical action game that took place in semi-realistic environments. I wanted to design an Army Men game which was more like the Army Men in the movie Toy Story. Rather than having these plastic soldiers fighting in semi-realistic outdoor environments, I wanted to have these soldiers fighting on kitchen countertops, in a bathtub, and under a Christmas tree. So that's from Michael Mendheim, right? And as a fan of these games, I think he nails it. He crushes it. It's perfect. It's fantastic. It feels very this was also the era of like the Honey, I Shrunk the Kids movies.
Mhm.
So it's like really hitting that as well too. So in that chapter, Menheim also talks about how he was inspired by the comic book series, Sergeant Fury and the Howling Commandos, which I've been to like Comic Cons and seen these. Have you seen these, Tyler?
No, I'm not familiar.
Yeah, it's like an older comic book that was like a war series of comic book. I believe it's Marvel. It is a Marvel comic book series, but that was a pretty popular one. And then he was also inspired by war movies like The Dirty Dozen. And that's how we get each character using like a specific weapon and having a distinct personality. In fact, Mendheim's entire goal with this series was to create a transmedia brand that goes beyond the scope of video games. He was trying to make Army Men into something that could have like spin-off cartoons, toys of its own, comic books. Like he wanted to make this something that was beyond video games.
I could have seen
And
this working out like pretty well. Like the whole like cartoon stuff for kids, like playing with Army Men toys. Yeah, I can see that working out.
Yeah, and it's gonna make you wonder like why did it not work? And we'll get to that in the end. And it has to do with big business and corporations, to no one's surprise. So, but yeah, I think he was well on his way. And the development process was described as, quote, being thrown back into the fire because Mendheim had less than a year to develop Sarge's Heroes from start to finish.
Dang.
That's saying we're making Sarge's Heroes to shipping out a finished product was 1 year, right? And he had done battle tanks before this, which is what he was successful from. So, which is also a good N64 game, battle tanks. So for the squad, what's interesting about the voice acting is it's all one guy. So one guy named Jim Cummings voiced the entire squad.
Oh, that guy's like
all of
that guy's done a lot of stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
But he was given like artist pictures of like each character, and then he just made voices based on their picture. And like that's how he did the voice lines. I should mention the PlayStation version had more voice acting, obviously, than the N64 version. That is another big difference.
Oh, that would make sense.
Because the N64 version just had like lines they said, but not like voice acting. In that chapter, also, I should say that Mendheim mentions that Sarge's Heroes could have used another. Okay, this is a quote straight up from him. He says, quote, Sarge's Heroes could have used another 3 months in the oven. The cameras needed additional polish and we needed more balancing, but we did not have that option. End quote. So
he couldn't patch it later.
Yep. And he was very much rushed. Right. And even without that stuff, the game still sold well. So they were actually #1 on the N64 when they released, and they cracked the top 10 games for PlayStation when they released. And that was enough for them to spawn sequels, right? So they had Army Men Sarge's Heroes in 2000, or Sarge's Heroes 2 in the year 2000, and then Army Men Sarge's War in 2004. We're going to talk about Sarge's War like very shortly here, because this is also, it's going to be a little bit of a shorter episode today, gang. Okay. Because I can tell him, right? I can tell him about my incident. I got in a car accident. I'm fine, everyone. I'm okay. But I'm a little sore. All right. Little sore. I didn't want to say no episode this week because this is something I enjoy. And I started thinking about Sarge's Heroes and I got really excited about it because as a kid, I have fond memories of fighting in the bathroom and fighting the spiders. And it was like terrifying, but also very exciting for me. So I wanted to talk about this game because it's great. But yeah, it's going to be a quick one this week. So let's just get into the legacy of the Army Men games. So the early Army Men games for 3DO at this time are great. And I would say considered classics like Sarge's Hero 1, Sarge's Hero 2, Air Attack, all great games. However, 3DO falls prey to that classic corporate blunder of, quote, we need to release these games every 3 months. Like that's what happens to this. So Mendheim talks about how the games stopped feeling special and started being, quote, a bargain bin joke. That's how he described it.
Oh.
So
what did they put out too many games? Because this was 99, Sarge's Heroes 2, 2000.
So in 1999, they put out 5 games.
Oh,
in 2001, they put out more. They put out like 6 games, 6 Army Men games. So if you go to the Army Men series, here,
you're not kidding. Wow.
Yeah, it's wild. So here, I'm going to go, we'll just read it off. And this is, I mean, the full blown Like this, we're just reading these off of Wikipedia, but that's fine because you know what? It's just a list of games here. So in 1999, they had Army Men 2, Army Men 3D, Army Men Sarge's Heroes, Army Men Toys in Space, and Army Men Air Attack. Okay. Then in 2000, they had Army Men World War, Army Men Air Tactics, Army Men World War Land, Sea, Air, Sarge's Heroes 2, and Air Attack 2. Okay. Then in 2001, they have 6 games. They have World War Final Front, Army Men Green Rogue, Army Men Advanced, Portal Runner, which is a very different kind of game set in the Army Men universe, Army Men World War, Team Assault, and then Army Men Operation Green. Okay. And then you'll see after 2001, it starts kind of petering out. Like they stop putting out as many games. I will say in 2002, they released a game called Army Men RTS that I loved. Like I am a huge fan of Army Men RTS. Is it a good game? I probably not, but I played it all the way through when I was a child and I loved it.
Great.
So yeah, I'm going to say what happened is it just got fatigued, right? It didn't feel special anymore. They put out too much at one time and then people stopped caring.
They Guitar Hero'd it.
Exactly. And they even say, like, in that chapter, Mendheim is like, we could have just put out a game every 2 years, you know, and that would have been way better and it would have felt more special and we would have had time. But instead they were like, no, let's just make as much money as we possibly can as fast as we can. And that ended up turning it into a series that everyone looked at as like a joke, right? Like I'm trying to think of another comparison series where you see something and you're like, okay, there's a new game coming out like every 3 months, kind of like, and I'm sure there's good ones, but like when they make games based off of like Barbie, or they make games based off of other toy franchises, like it's just, or like even like My Little Pony or whatever, you know, like games that are just meant for little kids that come out really fast. That just like boom, boom, boom. It's like that is what they did with Army Men, and it killed it. And it all comes to a head at the final game of the trilogy, Sarge's War, that comes out in 2004. This was done by Global Star Software after 3DO got rid of the license. 3DO might actually be gone at this point. Like they might have just gotten purchased by Global Star Software. I'd have to look into that. But Mendheim once again worked on the game, but decided to give it a darker tone and ending. So here's spoilers to the last Sarge's Heroes game. He kills every character. He kills every character except Sarge. So he kills General Plastro, Grim, Bravo, the entire cast of Bravo Company, and he even kills Vicky. He
Sarge
kills them
does?
all. Like, no, Mendheim in the story kills off
gotcha.
all these characters. So, and the story ends with him saying, quote, the chapter ends with him saying, quote, he was all alone now, as I was. Hoover, Riff, Scorch, Thick, Schrapp, Vicky, Colonel Grimm, Plastro, and Sergeant Hawk. You guys all rest in peace and thank you for your service.
Dang.
So he made it like biographical to what was going on in the industry by literally killing everyone in the franchise.
Wow.
That's what Michael Mendheim, that's how he ended his trilogy of the Sarge's Heroes trilogy. So we didn't really talk about 2 today because honestly, I haven't played 2 and we probably could have because we definitely had time. But I mean,
it is apparently not a very good game according to all of the reviews.
It wouldn't surprise me. I think Army Men Sarge's Heroes 1 is definitely considered the best in the series. And then from there, it just kind of slowly gets worse and worse. But that's it. It's like a tragic end to a great franchise I loved as a kid. And there are some life to this in like the indie game sphere. There was a multiplayer game called The Mean Greens Plastic Warfare that was like $2 on Steam. And it was pretty fun when like everyone was playing it for a while. Then there's Hypercharge Unboxed, which uses action figures to fight in like realistic settings at that same scale. But the next time we talk about an Army Men game, we will probably talk about one of the worst games I have ever bought and played. And I just mentioned it when we rattled off the list of games, but Army Men Green Rogue might be the worst video game I've ever played in my life.
Wow. In your whole life.
Yeah. In my whole life. It's pretty bad. It's a very, very, very bad video game. So I can't see you anymore, by the way.
I know my camera turned off. I don't know why.
Oh, okay. Well, that's fine. Now he's back.
I turned it back
Okay.
on.
Are we
I think
going to
it's
leave
over,
it?
it's
We're going to leave
overheating.
this part in?
That's why it's going to turn off again. I don't know. It's up to you, but it's turning off again
I
because it's
think.
overheating.
Oh, bye. Okay. That's kind of perfect timing because the episode's pretty much going to be over. But I was going to ask, what you been playing?
There we go. This is my webcam. It is a much worse version of a camera. I've been playing. What have I been playing? Pokemon Brilliant Diamond. Still can't get Luminescent Platinum to work on my Thor, and I'm 2 hours into Brilliant Diamond, so that's what it is now. I also played a couple of runs of Star Fox 64 3D on the 3DS because I have been found myself with a lot of time on my hands during jury duty, where everything moves slow, and so you just end up sitting in the hall a lot, and you need something to do. So I've been playing games on my
Justice
Thor.
never sleeps.
That's right.
But it plays video games.
Sure does. That's what I'm doing.
I can't see you still, by the way.
Okay, I'm sorry.
That's okay. I mean, we're gonna roll with it.
Yeah.
I'm fine with it. So, if anything, it adds the mystery of what you've been playing.
Yeah.
I would say.
Yeah. Well.
You could talk about what we've been playing together.
Yeah, we've been playing some Marathon.
Yeah, dude, I'm loving Marathon.
I'm getting more and more into it. The more I play it, the more I'm starting to get it, I guess. I think I need a lot of runs so that I know like what the highs are and what the lows are, because if you've never played that kind of game before as an extraction shooter, it's one of those genres of games where you lose more than you win. I think if you consider like getting wiped a loss, you lose a lot more often than you win. Like winning is something that happens infrequently enough that it feels really great when it does happen. It's not like other style of games where it's like, oh, you're gonna win like half the time, and if you're not winning, like you're doing something wrong. That's not how Marathon is. So I'm getting more and more into it as I.
Also, you can still do contracts, which make you still win. Like you can get your contract done and then die, and it still counts.
Yeah.
So that's fine. I did have a pretty amazing thing happen to me. I met my first friendly in Marathon.
Really?
Like I was solo, and I've been playing this game like kill or be killed, because that seems what everyone does, right? Everyone just attacks you on the rip and kills you. That's how it is. So I get to jump on this guy, I start shooting him, and then he goes in the mic team, like proximity chat, and goes friendly, friendly, friendly. And I stop shooting, and I like jump up and down, like crouch up and down a couple times. And then he crouches up and down. He's like, I'm just trying to do missions, man. And I'm like, I just walked away.
He's like, me too. All right.
Yeah.
Live and let
That's what I
live.
was trying to do. I thought he was trying to kill me. So that's why. And I was like, all right. Well, I just hopped up and down, and then I just walked away. So but that's one friendly interaction in like 30 or 40 runs of this game.
Well, still,
So
I've yet to come across that yet, but I haven't really done any proximity chat, so it could be that.
I didn't even have it. Like I have it set to push to talk. If someone talks to me, I can talk to them. But I've mostly been just really trying to like grind out the contracts, because that's the important thing. Is also that's how you get the story. And like you in your Marathon episode last week got me all excited about the story.
The Marathon story is pretty sweet.
I'm watching lore videos. Like I'm getting into it. Is Durandal involved? We don't know,
but hopefully would be
hope
cool.
So there's definitely something going on with AI happening.
Oh yeah.
Some rampancy shenanigans.
Oh yeah.
But I'm into it. I'm into Marathon. That's kind of what I've been playing in my downtime. But I did, after working on this episode, notice that on Steam, the Army Men games that are available on Steam, all on sale.
Ooh.
And I got them all for $5.
Dude.
Including Army Men RTS.
Okay.
So it might be a Steam Brothers game.
Steam Brothers. Although,
Literally
all of them for $5 total for all of them.
For $5 total for all of them.
For Army Men,
so
Army Men 2, Toys in Space, and RTS. So no Sarge's Heroes.
No Sarge's Heroes. Sarge's Heroes is not at all on anything, which is a tragedy, because I mean, I did watch, like when I typed in Sarge's Heroes onto YouTube, because I do that for like every game we cover, just because I like to watch people's videos and thoughts on it, right? And watch gameplay footage. Remake was at the top of that search list. So maybe someone's trying to remake it. I would hope so. That'd be great.
That'd be cool.
But yeah, also we got a Toby sighting in your camera, and I'm loving it right now.
Yeah, he's being a menace right now.
He's investigating. I love that. Toby, be ungovernable. Do it. So yeah, I love this game. It's a short episode this week, but I wanted to talk about this game because I've wanted to talk about it for a while, and it's very much to me, this idea of like Toy Story in a video game is like a nostalgic feeling.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's something that they've been trying to like recapture. So there's a story I wanted to tell too. When I was doing indie game development stuff, there's been a game called Plastic. Like it's like Plastic Warfare, or here, I'm going to look it up. It's not out. Oh, it's just called Plastic the Game, and it's Plastic on Steam, and it's supposed to be a hardcore 1/30th scale combined arms tactical shooter set in a backyard. So it's supposed to be like 40 people drop in a backyard.
Okay.
And
So
they
it
some
does
are
look
against
like
each
Army
other.
Men, yeah. Oh, and it's like Legos.
Yeah.
The buildings look like they're Legos.
Yeah, and
Lincoln Logs. Oh my gosh.
this game was announced in 2018, and I don't know if it'll ever come out. I don't think it will.
Well, I'm adding it to my wish list.
Dude, I added it to my wish list too, because I just wanted it to be something that actually came out, because it looks so cool. And I really want someone to try to capture that tone again, right? But I think in the age of like live service, like all the games I mentioned, by the way, that were like indie games that were like Army Men, they're all multiplayer. No one's making a story or a single player thing anymore.
Yeah.
Like it's all live service baloney is how I will describe it. So, because that's the nature of the world we're in today. But yeah, someone, Rumor Mill mentioned that maybe Marathon might try to put out more PvE stuff.
Ooh.
Because there's like people are saying the game's hard, and there's like a complaint about that. So maybe they'll make a casual mode for casual people, but maybe they'll do that. I don't know. I'm not afraid to get casual.
Yeah.
Okay?
I'm like,
I'll be sweaty.
What would a more PvE version of it look like? I mean, because I know PvE is obviously a big part of the game, but like, isn't part of why it's like part of its appeal is that other people can kill you? Like it's kind of scary. Like there's like a tension that you carry the whole time. And I feel like if you got rid of other people somehow or had less of that, it would be less. You would have less of that tension.
I was thinking my thought would be maybe it's like more of to compare it to Destiny, which I swear we're not sponsored by Destiny. Maybe it's like a dungeon-esque activity or a strike-esque activity where it's only PvE and you go in with 3 people and you do like a special level without other people in it. But I don't know how that would work.
Yeah, well, I'm like, what is the point of it though? Like the whole point of, I don't know.
I mean, it's all rumors. I doubt they do it. So it's all rumor mill.
Yeah, well, we'll see. Unless they're looking at like fundamentally changing what the game is, maybe that would be cool. But otherwise, I'm like, if I want to run dungeons, Destiny still exists. You can still play Destiny.
Yeah. Well, something cool I found that I like that video games do is when they kind of go completely off the beaten path. I found out that because of some sort of Red Bull sponsorship with Battlefield 6, Battlefield 6, Battlefield 6, they have a dirt bike racing in it. Isn't that weird?
Yeah, that is weird. This cat is knocking things off.
Toby, keep going. But yeah, so that's my take on Army Men. I hope I got across the point that I love this game series. I hope it's never coming back. I think it's over.
Yeah,
I think
it
the
sounds
dream
like
is dead.
It's scorched earth on that last one.
It is, yeah. And so I think it's a tragedy of its time, but it was worth an episode talking about. And if you have games that you have experiences like this, where you're like, this is like my nostalgia zone, you should email us, codexhistorypodcast@gmail.com. We want to hear about that kind of thing. That's my favorite thing to talk about.
Yeah.
Is people's fun story nostalgia stuff from video games. So, and with that, you can also follow us on Instagram, TikTok, all that stuff. And then also codexpodcast.net has all our links to it, including our Discord link. And with that, Tyler, would you like to say goodbye to everyone?
Sure. Goodbye, everybody.